Yes, sir. Quick video because this topic is something that every man needs to acknowledge. When it comes down to playing sports and playing with different individuals, there's no such thing as being equal. There are going to be people that have either better characteristics than us or worse characteristics than us. That's why being in a team is so important because we learn the strengths and the weaknesses of others. In that situation, people may unfortunately become envious of the quote unquote star player, the player that might get preferential treatment, might be dumb as shit in classes, but still manages to get the passing GPA so they could participate in sports. So many things build up inside of dudes to where they might do a move that they know is wrong, but they're trying to take shine away from the star player when they know what the play call is, but they might want to make an audible. Do we remember that episode in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when Will was getting it in on a basketball court? He was playing with Carlton. Carlton was envious of the attention that Will Smith was getting. He was envious and jealous that Will Smith was the star player doing the best thing that he did. He might have been a little flamboyant, but it is what it is, but he was scoring buckets. Carlton was put in a position to where he wanted to take the shot for himself, and if he made it, he can actually get that attention that Will was getting. He can be the star of the team, or maybe for the night, for that moment. Recognition that he wasn't getting because he was in the shadows of Will Smith. But the right play call was to pass it to Will because it's the end of the game. They're down by either one or two, I don't remember, but the game was on the line, so you go to your best player. Carlton was so jealous and envious that he took the shot for himself. Everybody in the stands knew it was the wrong move. Will knew it was the wrong move. The coach knew it was the wrong move. What was the end result? He airballed the damn shot. It wasn't the right move. I say that to say this. Scotty Pippen is filled with the same bitter envy, bro. If envy is wanting what someone has, whether it's the attention, status, woman, accolades, whatever it is, to be bitter envy means that you're filled up with so much resentment that you held back from the past years that whatever you throw out is going to be looked at as being bitter, that your words are going to cut sharp because you've been holding on to it for so long. You're trying to take away the recognition from MJ. We all know MJ was great. We don't need to be fucking talking about it every day. We understand that he needed a supporting cast, but nobody was watching The Last Dance to hear about Luke Longley or hear about Steve Kerr or Paxson. They wanted to see the work ethic of MJ to the point that it even changed Joel Embiid's perspective on MJ because he used to say that LeBron was the GOAT until he watched that documentary. Only people that are fucking blindly talking and that are fanboys and shit like that are going to just say that LeBron's the GOAT. All because they want to throw in quote unquote activism, being pro-black, and all of the social status shit that he does for attention. That makes him greater than MJ now. Get the fuck out of here. But Scottie Pippen is so fucking bitter that it's fucking sad. And no man should be like that because resentment and anger is what causes you to do some pretty brutal shit, and you don't want to get it there, bro. To where you're doing all attacks, you're trying to have people pity you, play the victim and shit like that. And not to mention, let's not forget, Scottie Pippen is coming out with a book. So good publicity, bad publicity is good publicity at the end of the day, bro. Because people are going to want to figure out what the fuck is going on in Scottie Pippen's mind. Why the fuck is he so salty about MJ? What the hell? It's like, it's not Scottie Pippen acknowledged for being one of the greatest players. But people, like I said, the man should be easy. If you feel like you have any hatred or any ill will in your heart, any bad energy, you got to understand that energy is not from above, it's from below. And you need to get rid of that shit because that shit causes so many dudes to do so much shit, put themselves in so many awkward positions and whatnot because they can't be real with themselves and they filled up with hatred and negative energy, bro, over wanting what somebody else has. This shit is just gone beyond to the point that we actually have to say, Scotty, do you need some help? We understand You went through the divorce. Your ex done slept with a rapper. People are shitting on you, talking about you the man next to NJ. So we understand that you're not getting your rightful recognition. Maybe that might be the case, but let's be honest. Let's be real. Nobody is watching any documentaries that are based on Scotty Pippen or Tony Kukoc. Let's be honest, man. But let's see what they got to talk about it, because damn, this shit is sad to where this grown man is still talking about MJ, calling Phil Jackson a racist. Where was all of this energy when you were in your prime? Even when you went to go play with the Portland Trailblazers, you still wasn't talking about none of this. You know what I mean? God damn. Men, do not get filled with this negative ass energy when you got resentment and you're envious of another dude because of what he has. You might feel like you deserve something more than another individual, all because you feel like they got away with some shit. Shit like that, bro. Too many dudes are definitely in this era where social media reigns supreme, living comparatively and whatnot. Too many dudes are growing to be envious, growing up being Joe Goldbergs and shit like that. Just not to digress.
That was nothing more than a prop. His best teammate of all time. He called me. He couldn't have been more condescending if he tried. Each episode was the same. Michael on a pedestal, his teammates secondary, smaller. The message no different from when he referred to us back then as his supporting cast. From one season to the next, we received little or no credit whenever we won, but the bulk of the criticism when we lost. Michael Jordan would never have been Michael Jordan without me, Horace Grant, Tony Kukoc, John Paxson, Steve Kerr, Dennis Rodman, Bill Cartwright, Ron Harper, B.J. Armstrong, Luke Longley, Will Perdue, and Bill Wennington. I apologize to anyone I've left out.
Well, shit, man, how could you leave anybody out with that long list? You might as well have kept going. This shit just sounds like a bitter ex that's just mad that you moved on. This dude Mike has been chilling, hasn't been talking shit. He's trying to own stakes in racing, baseball, all of that. He's minding his fucking business. Meanwhile, you got this bitter ex acting like a straight bitch, talking about things that people have gotten over. Is he mad that nobody's comparing him to LeBron James? Is he mad that nobody's comparing him to like Paul George or anybody of these modern players, bro? That he's not filling up any time segments in any of these debate shows? Nobody is talking about who is the next Scotty Pippen in the league. Is he bitter about this shit, my dude? This shit is sad. This shit is sad, man.
Bring back NBA insider Brian Windhorst. Windy, I will start with you. Is Scotty justified in these comments?
I don't know. That's a hard question, Molly. There's so many angles to this. You know, we're not talking about it, but in that excerpt that was in GQ, he absolutely slams John Paxson, who he won 3 titles with. John Paxson, he even describes, called him after the Last Dance aired, basically to offer that he felt bad. And he felt, Scotty says in the book, that he felt that it was Jordan who got Paxson to call, and then he slams Paxson for doing it, rips him in the book viciously. And that just shows me.
Yo, I can imagine Brian Windhorst reading this memoir, just sweating, like, damn, viciously.
That he is feeling so much anger and hurt over this documentary, and it brings up so many difficult feelings from years ago. And you know, the older I get, the more I cover the NBA. This is my 19th year covering the NBA. The more I realize that people like David Stern and Pat Riley are so sage in some of the things that they say, and some of the things that Pat Riley has said and written about championship teams and the difficulty of people wanting more when they win. Scottie Pippen showing the hurt and how he's wanted more for all this time. It's really a window into the remarkability of those championship runs and how difficult it is to be a teammate of a champion like Michael Jordan.
I can't understand how difficult it could be to play with arguably the greatest basketball player of all time, right? We keep seeing these conversations. It can only be difficult when you want more for yourself. This is what happens to when you hold on to words to where it builds up and now you're just exploding and now everybody's going to look at you like, what's wrong with this dude? I mean, if you feel something, if you feel like you got to say something in the heat of the moment, say it. What do you have to lose? If you want to hold on to that shit for years upon years, you're only going to get more anger, building up more resentment towards that individual or situation, whatever it may be, and to the point that it just looks like you're about to explode. You're going through a meltdown. Nobody's going to know what's going on with you because you've been holding on to this shit for years.
Brian, first of all, I appreciate where you're coming from. You know how much I respect your perspective and your work, my brother. You know that. But let me say this to you. We use the word empathy, Key, Wendy, to describe how we should feel about Scottie Pippen. To some degree, I think you're right. I like Scotty. And Scotty's one of the all-time greats. He didn't need to make the 75 list. He was on the 50 list. And he deserved it. Six-time champion, two-time Olympic gold medalist, one of the greatest defensive players this game has ever seen. There's no question about Scottie Pippen. And Michael Jordan himself has acknowledged on many occasions, publicly and privately, that he'd never be a champion that he was without Scottie Pippen. We know that. Scottie Pippen, however, I wouldn't totally go the empathy route, not just because a lot of it was self-inflicted in terms of his troubles and his issues, but also because some of it is self-imagined. This notion that he's not respected, this notion that he's not appreciated, that's just patently false. Anybody who knows the game of basketball knows what Scottie Pippen was. It's just that you still were not Michael Jordan.
Exactly. And he wants more attention to make up for the fact that he is not and he will never be Michael Jordan, and he needs to get the fuck over it, man. Just like so many dudes need to get the fuck over themselves when they're envious of a dude, maybe because of his status or the woman that he has. Now you're fucking salivating over his situation instead of worrying about yours, instead of worrying about the days that you have coming up. You're worried about another dude. What the hell is he going to do next? While you're sitting there stagnant. Too many dudes are becoming bitter and envious, especially in these days, like I said, where social media is around. You comparing yourself to so many dudes. So many people are faking it. All of this shit for what, bro? This dude is so jealous that he is not Michael Jordan that it is sad and pitiful. Just like so many dudes out here in this society that are jealous of other guys who are just minding their business, living their lives, trying to make a living and whatnot. Who gives a fuck if they might put it out on social media? But a lot of people see that and they are tight and salty that they cannot do the same thing, that they are not living the same way. Well, whose problem is that, bro? It's nobody's problem but yours. All of this shit is internal. Scotty needs to fix this shit, seek help, do whatever the fuck that is going to make this better and go away, bro. Because this shit, it just looks bad. You're like that bitter ex that won't go away, that does not want to see that ex do good or do better without you. So you still want to stick around using clout. So every time somebody brings up their name, they got to think about you. That's terrible, man.
That's the crime. Now, let me understand something here. Jordan was hurt his second year in the league, played 18 games. I'm going to give you his first 7 complete seasons, Keyshawn. He averaged 28.2 points as a rookie, 37.1, 35.
We get it, man. You guys have ran down Michael Jordan's statistics so much that we already get it, dude. We get it.
32.5, 33.6, 31.5, 30. His first 7 years in the NBA. 3 of those years were without Scottie Pippen. The NBA was marketing dunks and marketing the extraordinary skills of a Michael Jordan. That was what was going to propel the league to an international, global, iconic brand. And it was solidified with the Dream Team, the Barcelona Olympics, in which Scottie Pippen was a part of, and Isaiah Thomas got hosed out of being a part of, in part because of Scottie Pippen. I bring up Scottie Pippen because even though Jordan and others...
Not to digress for a quick second, that crossover push-off that Jordan did on Byron Russell won me a box of chocolate eclairs. Even I knew in the elementary school that MJ was the GOAT and Chicago Bulls were the best team.
Weren't keen about about Isaiah Thomas. Scottie Pippen proudly will acknowledge he had something to do. He gave opinions about how he didn't want Isaiah Thomas on the team. Does that deserve empathy? I don't think so. I don't think so. And so when I look at Scottie Pippen and he's talking this way and he's coming across as a victim, I'm saying, my brother, a lot of it you did to you. It wasn't Jordan. And then, Key, to acknowledge, according to the New York Post, that you regret not giving Michael Jordan condolences when his father passed.
Oh, well, you
listen
right there.
Listen to this. Listen to this. You did that. That's when, before Jordan retired after the first three-peat, the 2 years he was gone, when you welcomed him back and you three-peated again, and beyond all of those years, you acknowledged that you didn't do that. What does that mean, Key? What does that mean, Wendy? That means you did that on purpose.
Deliberately.
Facts. And that's sad. To where you're so bitter of this man that you can't even get a man condolences. So many dudes just show that they are just a piece of shit and you can't do nothing about it. As great as this man may have been in this sport and his skill, he's just showing that he was just not as great of a person that people might have perceived him to be, bro. So many dudes might have lost a girl to another dude. Now they hate that man when they don't even look at that situation as a blessing to where they could become a better individual. Look at their life in the long term. They still want to keep driving, looking in the rearview mirror, going nowhere fast.
Michael Jordan, the Michael Jordan I know, that I speak to, he will never forget that. There's a line that was crossed here. And then, oh, by the way, Phil Jackson's been called a lot of things. You know me, I love Phil Jackson, the coach. I despise Phil Jackson, the executive, because of what he did to my Knicks. We know that, okay? Phil Jackson a racist? He called Phil Jackson a racist. 28 years later. Come on, man. I can't give empathy totally with that. I know he's hurting, but you know what? You got to look at the hurt you inflicted. Somebody got to.
But what I would say, though, about the documentary, The Last Dance, yeah, it's a lot about Michael. But Michael, for all intents and purposes, was the Chicago Bulls. Yeah, you're going to tell the story of Dennis Rodman, and you're going to tell the story of Paxton and Kerr, and you're going to tell the story, to a degree, of Scottie Pippen. But this sounds like, to me, an all-out assault, clearly on Michael Jordan, for whatever reason there is. Whatever happened along those lines, Scottie can't get over that. And let's not forget, when Scottie had the opportunity to close the deal, he had a migraine. When Scottie had an opportunity to take the shot, I mean, Kukoc didn't. He didn't want to be a part of it. He decided to check out. Michael Jordan had the flu. He dropped 30-plus points.
35.
35. You gave me the right number. So, to me, it's kind of like you will never be MJ. You always are going to be known as a guy who helped MJ win championships at a high level. Like you said, Stephen A., 6 championships, 2 gold medals, all that, top 50 player all time. But you are never, ever going to ever see Michael Jordan. It's just not going to happen.
And that pretty much sums it up, man. Somebody got to look out for Scotty, because this is the type of internal energy, the type of resentment, the type of hate and anger that drives individuals to pull up to the workplace with an AR-15 and spray any and everybody in sight. And I don't say that lightly. It is what it is. It's enough of that. I'm out.